You guys are watching the Dallas Cowboys Report presented by BetDSI. I am your host, Tom Downey. Let's get to some more mailbag questions here, but first, today's show is brought to you by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code Cowboys120 for a 120% deposit bonus. You put down $50 and they're going to give you $60 for free. You will not find a better betting deal out there than the one on BetDSI. Chatsports.com/bet. That promo code Cowboys120. Mailbag time. V. Killets for the win says, with the recent comments from Jerry, is E.T. on the Cowboys going to be a reality? I don't know if it's a reality, but I do think it's a possibility. I think that's been the case for quite some time now. The Cowboys want Earl Thomas. Of course, it comes with the little asterisk, at the right price. Dallas will make a run at Earl Thomas. They've started their in-house plan of how to add him already, but the focus for the Cowboys is on the money and on the pitch to sell Earl Thomas on joining Dallas. Now for the Cowboys, the money is a factor. They don't want to throw $15 million at ET, and I don't blame them. But if they get him for 10 or 11, that's where it makes some sense. As expected, quite a few of the mailbag questions focus on Earl Thomas. I kind of figured that was going to be the case. From El Guapo FDR, based on all the extensions the Cowboys will give this offseason, what would an Earl Thomas contract look like if he signed with the Cowboys? I would say it's in that $10, $11 million range, somewhere in there. That's like what I would prefer. I think ET might want more. Maybe end up targeting more of kind of a split deal. But your range is kind of what it is right now for the top safeties. Eric Berry at 13, ET at 10. ET, I think, would want $14 million. I think he wants to be the highest paid safety. Now, if the Cowboys say, hey, here's 11 or 12, maybe 11, would you still do it? Would you take that offer? Now, question for you guys is, do you want an Earl Thomas contract projection? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me know in the comments section. We'll add it to the list if you guys want to see that one go down. It will be different than the DeMarcus Lawrence, Dak Prescott ones, because the Cowboys are competing with themselves and the market, not necessarily other teams and the market and themselves as well in a contract discussion. Some more Earl Thomas mailbag questions. Juan Castillo. If the Cowboys do sign Earl Thomas, do we move Xavier Woods to corner? Now, although Woods has played nickel corner, was basically a nickel corner early in his career for the Cowboys, or I should say last year for the Cowboys, I don't think that's the route the Cowboys will go. It could be an option at times, but I think the more likely outcome is that the Cowboys, of course, put Earl Thomas at free safety, put your best player where he plays the best, no surprise there, and Xavier Woods moves down to strong safety. A role he's kind of played at times, not a full-time strong safety, but he becomes your number 2. Now you got 2 guys that can cover. I'd prefer that over 2 guys that can't cover but hit hard. That's just my MO. And then Jeff Heath here becomes your number 3 safety, a role that I think is much, much better for him. Now, I know you guys are watching right now, but if you are, prove it to me. Type W in the comment section if you're watching right now. Let me know. Let me see who's actually paying attention, not just having it on in the background. Type W if you guys are watching right now. Appreciate that if you guys are doing it there. We know you're watching. We'd like to see it as well. And keep those questions coming, by the way, in the comment section. And if you haven't already, make sure you guys subscribe. YouTube.com/Dallas Cowboys Report. Look, you're not going to find a better Cowboys channel out there, right? Go subscribe right now. Tell your friends as well. We're doing the live Q&A, the live mailbag. Make sure you're commenting and subscribed. That way you can be featured on the show as well. Like Matt S. is, and he's always a loyal watcher. If we don't get Earl, should we go after Tre Boston? He'll be cheaper and younger. I am intrigued by the idea of Tre Boston, and I think at times he's shown some solid playmaking ability. Now, I do think he'd be cheaper. I don't think he's going to be necessarily a Earl Thomas type, but a little bit more cost-effective. Yeah, you miss out on the premier free safety, the premier safeties in Earl Thomas, Landon Collins. Tre Boston's not a bad fallback option, which, by the way, is why the Cowboys should have signed him last year. The Cowboys refused to get into the safety market, cost them guys like Tre Boston and Kenny Vaccaro, 2 really good safeties. They're going to be even more expensive for them now. So if Dallas misses out on Landon Collins and Earl Thomas, and maybe a Tyrann Mathieu as well, who do you want them to sign at safety? Beyond your top-tier guys, who's kind of your secondary target for the Cowboys at the safety position this offseason in free agency? Let me know in the comments section. More mailbag questions here coming up on today's Cowboys Report. Again, folks, we appreciate it. Gabriel Paulin says, if the price is right, is it possible that Dallas can sign defensive tackle Gerald McCoy, Earl Thomas, and Adam Humphries all in free agency? Well, sure, if the price is right. The problem is that the price probably isn't going to be right for all three, at least in terms of together. Gerald McCoy, potential cap cut. I don't know if he's actually going to be cut at this point yet. I think he does. If he does get cut, I think he could end up being an option there. Earl Thomas, the free safety, we mentioned him quite a bit. And then, of course, Adam Humphries. Humphries, I think in particular, is going to be too expensive. He's going to outprice himself. He's going to be more expensive than Cole Beasley. So at that point, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for the Cowboys. Also from Gabriel, will you give us your full 7-round 2019 mock draft for the Dallas Cowboys? Is this something that you guys want? Let me know in the comment section. Type 7 for yes and 0 for no. I would like to do it, but I want to make sure you guys want one as well. So let me see the 7s in there, of course, for 7-round. If I see enough, we'll add to the list here in the coming days for you guys on the Cowboys Report. And then DM me on Twitter at @WhatGoingDowney if you guys have any NFL draft questions on the Cowboys that, of course, we don't get to hear today during the live show. Ethan Tyra asks, should the Cowboys go for a jump ball red zone threat receiver like a Hakeem Butler in the draft? And he points out, both Cooper and Gallup can create mismatches at the slot receiver. So I do want another weapon. I want another guy that I think can win in the red zone. But you don't have to be a big-bodied guy to win in the red zone. We've seen that throughout the NFL. And unfortunately for the Cowboys, we tried the jump ball thing with Dez Bryant. Didn't really work out all that well. So what I want is a guy that gets open. Don't care where on the field, just gets open. Be it a tight end if you want to go with a bigger-bodied, a Hakeem Butler if you want to go bigger-bodied there, or a shifty slot receiver that gets open as well. Frankly, Cole Beasley has been a solid red zone guy, just hasn't always worked out at times for the Cowboys. Yeah, he's not a prime Dez Bryant with Tony Romo red zone guy, but he's had some success. So I'm kind of not answering your question here. Just get me an impact player. I don't care if it's a wide receiver or a tight end. As long as they make plays for me throughout the field, including in the red zone, that's what I want. So what's the biggest need for the Cowboys? Type W for wide receiver or T for tight end. Both of them are very clear needs for me. As of right now, I lean towards receiver because Cole Beasley's a free agent, so is Tavon Austin. That's a big question mark. I'd say even more so than tight end, where at least you have Blake Jarwin and Dalton Schultz for next year. Benjamin Tellis says, let's say Kyler Murray falls deep in the second round. Should Dallas take him? I appreciate you saying you won't. It's just a hypothetical. Otherwise, I probably would have taken the question. The answer is yes, but also it's not going to end up happening. So I do it and try to trade Kyler, but again, he's not going to fall that far. I think he ends up going in round 1. From John, should the Cowboys draft a possible La'el Collins replacement in like the 3rd or 5th round? I like that idea. But also remember, in round 3 or 5, or 3 through 5, you're probably looking more at a depth guy. Typically, you don't find starters in round 3, 4, or 5. You do sometimes, and if you get lucky, awesome. But for the most part, the top tackles are off the board. Now, I like the idea because you need depth. I definitely would. If there's someone you like that falls to you, pull the trigger on him. But I don't think the Cowboys necessarily need to go round 3, round 5, and think, oh, this is our new La'el Collins replacement. I think in reality, the mindset is, oh, this is going to be our potential swing tackle long term, and maybe we focus again next year at a new right tackle. From Food Review, would Dallas be better off paying Dak or Zeke big money? I'm going to out myself here a little bit. So a couple things to kind of break down here. Relative to positions, Zeke is better than Dak. That's kind of how things fit in when it comes to like Zeke's a top 5 back, Dak's like maybe a top 15 quarterback. So from that perspective, Zeke's better than Dak. And this is not a dig at Zeke by any means. But quarterback is more important than running back. That's the reality of the NFL. You can win with an average running back and a great quarterback. It's pretty tough to win. Or I flipped it around. It's tough to win without an average quarterback. If you have a great quarterback, it's a lot easier. If you have a below-average quarterback, it's really tough to win games. And it's much easier to replace a running back than it is a quarterback. So from a team building perspective, I know some of you guys don't like this answer, but you're better off paying Dak Prescott. I don't believe in paying backs big money. You can find competent players in round 3, in round 4, in round 5. You're not going to find competent quarterbacks for the most part in round 3, round 4, round 5. The rare exceptions, you already have one in Dak Prescott. I would rather pay Dak and go invest half the amount of money I would have paid Zeke in some draft picks and some backs, and I think your roster is going to be better off for it. I mean, we just saw it with the Rams, right? Yeah, they had Todd Gurley, and C.J. Anderson, who was cut by the Raiders, outplayed him in the playoffs. You can find backs a lot easier than you can find a quarterback. That's why in the end, I'm paying Dak Prescott before I end up paying Zeke Elliott. Yo boy DC for Life says, should the Cowboys pick up Colin Kaepernick as a good backup for Dak Prescott? Well, I wouldn't mind the idea personally. I think he'd be a good fit behind Dak. And yeah, the collusion suit's been settled, and Kaepernick's lawyer expects there to be some interest now. Here's the problem. Jerry Jones would never sign a kneeler to be his backup quarterback. He would absolutely never. So from that perspective, it's not a terrible idea. Jerry's not going to sign off on it, though. So I like the idea. By the way, I wasn't going to bring up that question, but we had like 4 of them in the community tab today on Colin Kaepernick, so I figured I might as well once and say I took care of it. From, hopefully I get your name right here, Blanca Duran. Should the Cowboys re-sign or tag D. Irving? He might just get it together, then the patience would be worth it. My answer is no. On both. I'm not doing either of those things. A, the Cowboys don't want to bring back David Irving, and neither do I. He's missed meetings, he's missed drug tests, and I get it. The upside is tempting. It exists. He's there. He can be so great. But what has David Irving done in the past calendar year to prove he's worthy of another shot? All David Irving has done is got himself in more trouble and not been focused and not shown up to his damn job. I'm not interested in David Irving anymore. At a certain point, the headache is not worth the talent. I'm not going to re-sign a guy so he can play in 2 games and then be inactive the rest of the way because he's suspended again, which I think he's going to be, by the way, or he's hurt again and doesn't go to rehab to get his ankle fixed in time. I'm just not interested in bringing back David Irving. The Cowboys, go invest elsewhere in defensive tackle. It's going to be a lot better for them in the end. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.